All right, so tonight I'm going to build up the boards that I have for the Atari BreakOut boards. These little adapters that I made to let you select the size of the paddle. The game is really too hard the way it was designed, but it had to be because it was, for use in arcade and it's designed to make money. If I put this in here, it makes it quite a bit easier. Makes the game more enjoyable, for me at least. So I've got 10 of these boards that I need to fill, I need to populate. I need 74 74s and 161s, which I'll take. The 161s will come off the board. I'll just put those back in. And these standoffs, these headers will be used. Oh, and also 4-pin dip switches, 4-position dip switches. So let me get these things built up, and then we'll start installing them on the boards. So I've completed the first step in the assembly of these boards, and that is to install the header that's in the middle of the 161 to be installed. That's the first thing you do. Then you're going to install the 161 on top of the header that was soldered in. See how that's above the header? So that will be soldered in, and then the next step will be to install another header on this row here. This white line here, this white row indicates where the headers go. So let me get through with the next couple of steps. I suppose the hardest part is done now. All of the boards have been assembled to where the headers are in there, installed, and the 161 4-bit counter is installed. And so that counter straddles one of the sets of headers. That's why you have to do that in a certain order. So now I'm going to install the 74 and the 4-position dip switch. These don't need a capacitor. You can, well, I can add it if the board needs it, but it doesn't need it. I don't even know why I bothered putting that there. I guess, maybe to help with the power stability, but yeah, it's not needed. Anyway, let me finish putting these together. I got these all assembled except for this one. I'm missing 174. I'm going to have to dig one up. So what I'm going to do is on one of the boards, I'm going to remove the 161 that's at D4. These all get installed in D4 on the main board. And I'll install these headers so that I can plug each one of these into the board and test them to make sure they all work. All the other boards, these will be soldered into the board. But for the one, I'm going to make it where I can remove them, and so I'm going to add these headers. So that's what I'll be doing next, I suppose. Okay, finally, time to resume my videos on the skill level adjuster on the Atari BreakOut PCBs. All of the PC boards have been populated, and I'm going to put them in the board one at a time. I've installed a socket only on this one board. All the other ones I'll pull the chip and I'll try to solder it in. If I can't solder it in, then I'll socket those as well. But so that's where we're at. The first board. Let's see if it works. So right now I've got the setting on medium. Medium size. There's small, there's normal, medium, and extra large, if you will. So let me start the game, put a credit on it, and start it. So that's what the paddle looks like in medium. So if I change it to large, hold on a second. There, that's what large looks like. So this board appears to be working. And the way this works is it just extends the time that the paddle is drawn. And it works the same as the regular paddle in that when you get all the way through and you hit this back wall, the paddle gets half the size. So in this case, since it's the large paddle, it becomes the medium-sized start paddle, if you will. What I had previously had it set on, that's what it would become. I've demoed this in a previous video, so I'm not going to do that here. This is all about just populating all these boards and testing them, and then the other 3 or 4 or 5 boards that I have, I'll go ahead and install these skill adjuster boards into them as well. All right, well, I've installed my little skill selector board on all of the boards that I have except for this one. This is the last one. This is the one that had the corrosion damage. You can review the previous videos on that. And I had it working. I had solder bobbed two pins together right there. And that got it to where it was clanking correctly. But now, this is the first time this has been turned on in a couple weeks, I guess. And now it's doing that shit. So, the clock is wrong. The first thing I'm going to do is remove that solder blob and see if that, to see if it does better. I also have new crystals. I want to replace that crystal because I think this one is maybe faulty or not great. Regardless, it's got corrosion and stuff on it. I'll replace it. So let me do that and I'll be back. Okay, I installed a new crystal. Here's the old one. You can see how corroded or rusted up and crap it is. And the legs aren't in great shape either. They're corroded and stuff. Crystal integrity, though, is good. Maybe if I cleaned up the rust and junk better, it'd be okay. But, oh, and I also removed the solder blob. Solder blob's been removed. And we have a screen again. We have a good-looking screen. So I'm going to test this real quick, and if everything checks out, I will install the last skill level selector board, and I will return. All right, so I'm still testing this corroded board, and I'm noticing a problem with the paddle. It's not going all the way to the top, and see that? It's jumping. I'm turning it, and then I keep turning it, and bam, it jumps. And then if I keep turning, it keeps going, but it doesn't never get to the edge. It stops right there. So that's weird. It's got a weird jumperoo right there. And it's not just player 1. This is player 1, so let me serve the ball. I'll show you player 2 now. So player 2, see, it does the same thing. It jumps. So let me see if I can fix that. It's going to have something to do with the 555 timer. Here's the circuit for it. We've got the two paddles. It shares most of the same circuitry. It does have a transmission gate. I don't think it's going to be that. It's going to be probably a bad capacitor or something on this 555. So let me focus on this circuit here. See if it's a bad resistor, bad capacitor. I don't see it being this. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I'm going to focus on this. I'll be back. All right, so here's where I'm at with this. I removed that capacitor. And I tested it again without that in the circuit. It did the same thing. It didn't fix it. I've now lifted one end of each of these capacitors so I could accurately measure them, and they're both 1 microfarads. They both appear to be good, so I was wrong about that. So this thing is the only thing that's affecting the capacitance values when I measure them in circuit. So I'm going to replace the 555 now and see if that doesn't fix the problems. So let me do that, and I'll be back. Okay, so I put a socket in and I installed a new 555, and after I did that, the capacitance measurements on these two capacitors made better sense. It made more sense. So something was internally screwed up with that, shorted or something. So I tested it and it seems to be working now. So this is of course player 1, and it's going to be the same for player 2. So we've got good flow all the way across. It doesn't jerk around and it goes all the way across. So that's what it was. Bad 555. There it is. That one's going to be going in the recycle bag. All right. Let me play a game of this. Make sure I'm happy with it. Fully testing everything I can. And then if it's good, I'll install the speed up thing and I'll come back with a final wrap up. Okay. So gameplay on this board is perfect. Audio, gameplay, controls, everything is wonderful. However, this dip switch here that lets you select the replay value, you can set it between 1 and 800, I think. This switch is bad, so I'm going to have to replace it. I set it on the minimum 100, and it didn't give me a free game, and then I ohmed out this switch, and it's not connecting. So I'm going to be replacing it with a new switch, and then I will retest it, and I'll be back. Okay, this is the last board. Got a good picture. Let me do a final test game here, and I'm going to video record it, and I'm going to try to play to 100 points, and I should get a free game at 100 points with the current dip switch setting. Dip switch setting is set with just the first pin or the first switch and turned on. That's supposed to set it to 100 points. All right. I've got the big paddle set, so it'll be easier to get there. As you can see, big paddle, audio's working. Got full range of motion on the paddle. It looks great. Feels good too. Plays really well. And I don't know what kind of corrosion got on this board, but something really ate it up, and it got a hold of that dip switch. That's all related. It was just poorly stored with boards that had batteries on it, I suspect, and the battery acid from the other boards leaked on it. And it doesn't even have to leak on it, really. It can just be fumes. I mean, if you have enough batteries in a box, or even a room, I suppose, that acid's going to get in the air and it's going to deposit on stuff, and that's probably what happened here. And then of course, if it was in a wet environment, that would affect things, causing it to accelerate the battery acid or base, whatever you want to call it, or whatever it is. In fact, that would cause the stuff to just spread like wildfire. The corrosion. All right, so we're getting close to 100 points. When we get to 100, it should make a beeping noise. There it is. All right, so the free game works now with that new switch. And I guess I'll play a little bit more, but that's pretty much it. This was the last board that I have. All the boards I own now have this paddle size adjustment circuit board installed. If someone ever uses this and they don't like it, they can remove it, but why? I mean, all you got to do is turn all the switches to the default setting, and it's the exact game. No reason to remove it. So you can see my paddle is half the size since it hit the back wall, so that all of that's working properly. See if I can clear the board. Oh, it went right through that. What? What's going on? That's weird. That may be a bad RAM. Oh, shoot. Now I'm curious. I'm going to see if I can get that one. Oh, I missed it. Oh, shoot. Ah. All right, well, I'm curious about that one brick, why it didn't break away. So let me set this on 5 balls. And I'm going to play again, see if I can get all the bricks. I'm not going to videotape it, though. That's the end of this video, unless I figure out something. Find another problem with why that brick wasn't being hit. Hey, thanks for watching. So I played another game, and all of the bricks on this wall have been taken out in my second game. So there's no problem. I don't know what's going on, why it didn't want to detect the hit. It looked like to me it was going right through it. But, I mean, the second game I was hitting it, and it didn't have any problems. So, I don't know. I don't think it's a RAM at this point. I don't think it's an actual problem. But, anyway. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching.